Picture this. The clubhouse roof that everyone says was fine for another year just failed after a big storm. Now there's water damage in the community room and you're looking at $75,000 emergency repair bill with only $12,000 in reserves. How do you break it to your neighbors that they each owe an unexpected $2,500? This happens to communities all the time, but it doesn't have to happen to yours. Community associations face real challenges when it comes to planning for big expenses down the road. But here's the thing. Good planning can completely change how your board operates, taking you from putting out fires to actually leading with strategy. Today, let's talk about 3 key aspects of capital planning that you need to know to protect your community's property values and honestly, your own sanity as a board member. Let's start with what you're actually responsible for as a board member. You have both legal and fiduciary duties to maintain common elements and keep adequate reserves. This isn't just a nice suggestion. In many states, it's literally the law. When boards try to keep monthly assessments artificially low by putting off maintenance, they're not really saving money. They're just creating hidden debt that actually gets bigger over time. In fact, every dollar of maintenance you put off today typically turns into $2, $3, $4 in repairs just a few years later. There's this thing called the business judgment rule that protects board decisions, but it only works if you're making informed choices. That means getting professional assessments done, talking to experts when you need to, and making plans based on real data, not just guessing or hoping for the best. I should mention that the courts have actually held board members personally liable when they neglected these duties, not something anyone wants to experience. Your best tool here is getting a professional capital needs assessment, sometimes called a reserve study. This document does 4 really important things. It lists your common elements, everything your association is responsible for maintaining. It tells you how much life each item has left. It figures out what replacement costs will be. And it recommends how much you should be setting aside to cover future needs. Updating this assessment every few years gives your association the roadmap to help prioritize projects, communicate clearly with residents, and justify your assessment levels when people ask why they're paying what they're paying. Think of preventive maintenance like regular checkups with your doctor. Just like a doctor catches issues before they become emergencies, regular inspections and maintenance prevents catastrophic failures. When you have structured preventive maintenance programs in place, you'll typically extend the life of your components by a large percentage and cut those middle of the night emergency calls by another large percentage. Pretty significant, right? Now, the part that everyone wants to avoid talking about, how to pay for all this. There are 3 main approaches. First, there's reserve funding, which is really the gold standard. By collecting smaller amounts regularly, you spread costs fairly among everyone who benefits from the amenities, both people living there now and future residents. You want to aim for reserves that are at least 70% funded to minimize risks. Then there's the special assessments, also known as additional assessments, depending on the state that you live in. Those can be emergency tools, not your go-to solution. They put an unfair burden on whoever happens to own at the moment, and they can create real financial hardship for people on fixed incomes and often lead to angry meetings and neighbor conflicts. Finally, there are loans, which can help with urgent projects when you're caught short, but remember they add interest costs and usually need community approval. They're more like last resort options, not replacements for proper planning. The boards that handle this best use a mix of approaches with strong focus on building up reserves to minimize those dreaded assessments. They talk proactively with residents about why adequate funding matters to everyone's property values. The small decisions you make today will shape your community's financial future. Start by taking a look at your current reserve study and funding level. If you don't have an updated assessment, make getting one your top priority. Set up a special board meeting just to talk about capital planning, separate from your regular meeting, where you can focus without all the usual distractions. Remember, your neighbors are counting on you to protect their investment, and with proper planning, you've got this. If you found this perspective valuable, we invite you to connect with us. Facebook viewers, like our page and follow us for regular updates. Feel free to message us directly with your questions or community challenges. Instagram viewers, hit follow and feel free to DM us with your questions or community challenges. YouTube viewers, subscribe to our channel and check out the video description for helpful links. Visit our website to discover our thought leadership content, books, and resources that can transform your community management approach. Whether you're dealing with the challenges we discussed today or other community issues, we're here to help. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.